Hey, this is Bartbaggett, author of The Success Secrets of the Rich and Happy and president of Handwriting University International. Today's video newsletter is about the Colonel. Colonel Harland Sanders, who is the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, commonly known around the world as KFC. Now, I've traveled all over the world from London to India to America, and as always KFC, and for me it's a safe place to eat, even if I'm in an odd country, because I know it's safe. And I got the inspiration for this video newsletter literally today, sitting down at the Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant in Los Angeles, California. I'm by myself. I look up, and on the wall is a huge signature of Colonel Sanders, Harland Sanders, Harland. And what immediately I noticed, not only was, the entire display obviously 75 years old because the pictures were black and white, but they used his real handwriting. And I recalled the story of Mr. Sanders and how he, at the age of 66 years old, really reinvented himself and founded a restaurant chain where he went basically door to door, and he sold his recipe in a franchise model, and that became the foundation of KFC. Now, of course, now as we record this, it is owned by Pepsi, and it's one of the biggest restaurants in the world. But in the beginning, it literally was a 66-year-old man with nothing but a $160 Social Security check every month, going from restaurant to restaurant selling recipes. And if you think about that, most people give up by the time they're 66. If they haven't made it, they just give up. But this guy had something different. And one of the things I've always found fascinating about human beings is that successful people do what unsuccessful people don't do. So I looked at his writing, and what immediately jumped out at me not only was, the typical things, he slants to the right and he's emotive and a little sense of criticism. He has a trait that I find in highly successful people called determination. When I wrote my book called The Success Secrets of the Rich and Happy, I isolated 5 to 7 traits like persistence, determination, high self-esteem. And determination was one of those that anytime I saw it, these people had to overcome great odds, either physically or emotionally. And so I find it very interesting that in his own handwriting on the wall of a restaurant, many, many years after his death, we're still learning that determination is a trait which helps you succeed. Colonel Sanders. And not only is his story true that I heard all those years, he really did start at age 66 and build one of the most impressive restaurant franchises in history, but his quotes and his philosophy of the world also ring true, and I think there's some lessons here. I made a resolve then that I was going to amount to something if I could, and no hours, nor amount of labor, nor amount of money would deter me from giving the best there was in me, and I have done that ever since, and I win by it, I know. I also like this quote: "You have got to like what you're doing, and you've got to be doing something worthwhile. So you can like it because it is worthwhile. That it makes a difference, don't you see?" And I love that quote because he found that selling chicken made a difference. You may be finding charity makes a difference, finding selling make a difference. I find teaching people personality, insights, and handwriting makes a difference. And because I like it, it's fun for me. So hopefully you're finding something fun in your life to make your life living. If you look back at his handwriting, he does have very high D stems, and high D stems are pride and self-respect. And there's a quote where he talks about pride in his establishment, and I think it's one of the reasons it succeeded. He once said, "If you've got time to lean, you've got time to clean." I think that's very funny, and it goes to show that every little detail makes a difference. Now, you may not think of KFC as the cleanest restaurant in the world, but as a world traveler, I can't eat the normal food in certain countries. It would just make me sick because I'm born and raised in America. But I know that if I go to KFC, the water's going to be purified, the food's going to be safe, and it may not be the best meal I had on my trip to these wonderful countries, but at least I know it's going to be safe. So I've noticed that it is still clean 75 years, and it's a safe place to go. And he always said, set high standards so you can take pride in your product. And I think his handwriting reveals that he takes pride in himself. He's famous for wearing those horn-rimmed glasses, a white suit, and the black bow tie. That's a very classic colonial Southern American gentleman, so to speak. So he took pride in the way he looks, he took pride in his restaurant, and he, of course, succeeded. And just a final inspiration, I love that he did this. He said he had nothing but his check for $105 per month from Social Security. That paid for my gas and the travel needed to get the franchises started. He said lots of nights I would sleep in the back of my car so I would have enough money to buy cookers the next day if someone took a franchise. So I'll just leave you with this. You don't have to have determination. You don't have to have pride. You don't have to have good self-esteem. But if you have all those, it's going to make what you're doing better, and it'll allow you to get up when you're knocked down, allow you to sleep in your car as you know that the next person might say yes to your offer, and maybe you're the next Colonel Sanders. This is Bart Baggett, president of Handwriting University International. Remember, happiness is a choice, and success is a decision. Choose wisely.